We're recording.
Well, good evening, everyone. So happy you could make it. It's always nice to have a group of us coming together to do practice. It can be helpful. It's not always easy to do it on our own. So I'm happy you're taking this effort to do this work. So I'll just begin with a brief reading, and then we'll move into practice. And this is by William Stafford. It's called You Reading This, Be Ready. Sitting here, what do you want to remember? How sunlight creeps along a shining floor? Or what scent of old wood hovers? What softened sound from outside fills the air? Will you ever bring a better gift for the world than the breathing respect that you carry wherever you go right now? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? When you turn around, starting here, lift this new glimpse that you found, carry into evening all that you want from this day. This interval you spent reading or hearing this, keep it for life. What can anyone give you greater than now, starting here, right in this room, when you turn around? So coming into this present moment, and as we typically do, just noticing the body in the chair, noticing your posture. Want the back fairly straight so we're not slumping over, so the shoulders are back a bit and it's easy to breathe in and out. Feet are flat, both feet are flat on the floor. And just coming into the present moment by just noticing the body and the sensations of the body. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes, reduce the visual distractions that might be around you. And if that's not your approach, you can just kind of look down maybe 6 or 7 feet in front of you with half closed eyes, kind of reducing the peripheral vision so there's less distraction. So whatever works for you. And we'll begin with 5 slow, deep breaths, inhaling through the nose. And as we exhale, softening and relaxing on each exhale. So 5 consecutive breaths, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And one last slow, deep breath. And on that exhale, soften and soothe and relax. Soften, soothe, and relax. And again, this bringing the attention to the body and sensations. And we do this because sensations are in the present moment. And if we don't get lost into analyzing the sensations or interacting with them, we can simply let them pass, and we can just rest in the moment by moment experience of the sensations. So beginning by just noticing the contact of the feet on the floor. Noticing sensations in the toes, the feet, the balls, the arches, the heels. And feeling the connection between the feet, the floor, and the earth, in a sense of the energy of the body extending down through the feet into the earth, feeling that deep rootedness in this Mother Earth. As we make this connection, just coming to the awareness that this human body of ours is made of earth elements. It's sustained and nourished each day through the air we breathe, the water we drink, food that nature provides. So this human body is one and the same as the earth body, deeply connected, deeply intertwined, one body of life, earth body, human body. I'm giving gratitude for the unconditional support this earth gives us each day. Then bringing the attention up from the feet through the ankles, up the shins and the calves, up into the knees. And then bringing the attention up, noticing sensations in the thighs and the hips. And sensing into the sits bones as they contact the chair. Meditation? We have somebody coming in right now. No, we got people online. Okay. So just noticing the feet on the floor, and and coming up through the legs into the hips. Welcome. And just noticing the sits bones now as they contact the chair. Noticing temperature or pressure as sits bones contact the chair. And then just bringing the attention up along the lower back, through the ribs and the middle back. Just noticing the shoulder blades, the shoulders. And coming up into the shoulders now, inviting the shoulders to soften and relax. And just dropping attention down through the left shoulder, down into the left arm, down into the left hand. And just noticing sensations in the fingers and the hand.
Just double checking, you don't have the back door open, right?
And just noticing sensations there. And then coming up from the left hand up through the forearm, the elbow, the upper arm, the left shoulder, and then shifting over into the right shoulder. Dropping down the right upper arm down into the right hand. Again, just noticing sensations in the fingers, the palm of the hand. Just being with sensations as they come and go. There's no need to analyze sensations. The mind may identify some experience, might provide a description of it, a word, but that can just come and go. It might be pleasant or unpleasant or neutral, but there's just a deep allowing of whatever the sensation is without the need to change anything. This is the primary practice, is being with experience, with openness, acceptance, equanimity. Just a deep allowing of experience to come and go. And right now, just noticing those sensations in that right hand. And coming up from the right hand up through the wrist, forearm, the elbow, the upper arm, the shoulders. And just sensing into the shoulders. Seeing sensations in the neck, the back of the neck, sides of the neck, front of the neck, the throat, the jaw. Just inviting all those areas to soften, soothe, and rest the throat, the jaw, neck, the shoulders. Just resting in the experience of sensations as they come and go in the body right now. And continuing to now notice the chin, the cheeks, sensations in the lips, the nose, the eyes, the area behind the eyes, the brow, the forehead. And just inviting all the muscles of the face to soften, rest, just letting go of any subtle contractions of facial muscles. Just resting. Seeing sensations on the top of the head, the scalp, the sides of the head, the ears, back of the head. And just bringing now the attention to the whole of the body, the skin, the internal sensations in the body, and just noticing whatever comes and goes, whatever's prominent. If nothing's really drawing your attention, just being generally aware of the experience of the body, the level of sensation. Inviting the whole body to soften, soothe, and rest. And you may notice we call this awareness of the body our foreground attention. That's where we're kind of directing attention. But in the background, there may be sounds or there may be thoughts, emotions, other sensory experiences coming through. And those can kind of drift by like clouds in a vast sky. There's no need to attend to them, but there's also no need to push them away. And continue to rest in that foreground attention of awareness of sensations in the body. Just resting. So in this space of practice, there's really nothing to do, just resting in a moment by moment experience. There's no place to get to or change. And there's no problems to solve in this moment. Just resting. If you'd like, we can narrow the attention just a little bit to just the breath, sensation of the breath in the upper body. Feeling into the abdomen, the ribs, the chest, the shoulders as they rise and fall. And again, just being with a moment by moment sensation of in-breath and out-breath. Just resting in a moment by moment sensation of in and out breath. Now, if you'd like to narrow the attention just a bit more, you can choose one of three areas to be with the sensation of the breath, and that could be the abdomen, or the chest, or the sensation of the breath at the nose, the nostrils. Or you can just continue with a general awareness of the breath in the whole upper body, whatever works best for you. But sometimes focusing on one area of the body can help to stabilize attention and reduce mind wandering. So become intimately connected with the moment by moment sensation of beginning of the in-breath, it continues and finally stops and pauses, the beginning of the out-breath, as it continues and finally stops and pauses. We're being with that full cycle of in and out breath through sensation of the belly, the chest, the nose, or the whole upper body. particularly noticing the beginning of the in-breath and the beginning of the out-breath. As we follow the whole cycle of in and out breath through sensation. Pausing for a moment and just checking in with the body. And maybe beginning with the area around the eyes, the jaw, the neck, and just inviting the whole face, jaw, neck, and shoulders to soften, soothe, and rest. Soften, soothe, and rest. Inviting the shoulders and the back and the hips. Soften, soothe, and rest. Inviting the arms and the hands. Soften, soothe, and rest. Inviting the chest, the ribs, the abdomen, heart, the lungs, stomach, the intestines. Soften, soothe, and rest. Find the lower back, the hips, the thighs, the knees, calves, shins, ankles, feet, and toes. Soften, soothe, and rest. And just bringing the attention back to the breath, wherever you were working with before. Again, being with the sensation of the in and out breath, particularly noting the beginning of the in breath and the beginning of the out breath. Just resting in the moment by moment experience of sensations of the breath in the body. That's the beginning of the in breath, middle of the in breath, the end of the in breath, beginning of the out breath, middle of the out breath, the end of the out breath, pause between breaths. you'd like, we can notice, tell us awareness of awareness practice, where there's a part of you that's kind of noticing the sensation of the breath. And then you can look directly at that awareness that is knowing that breath sensation. We're just resting in that which is awake and aware of our moment by moment experience, awareness itself. We're just resting in that wakefulness, awake and aware awareness. If it's a little too abstract, you can just continue with the breath. You can continue just with this resting in awareness itself. Just resting. No effort here. If there's any sense of peace or quietude from moment to moment, just noticing that and appreciating that as a quality of being that is always present, but often gets covered over by our active thinking, analyzing mind. In these moments of quiet and spaciousness, just taking in whatever enjoyment is there, and inviting that into the whole of the body, celebrating this moment of quietude, however brief it might be, how long. Recognizing that this is a natural state, and we're at a place of rest and present moment awareness. It's a place of clear seeing without the obscurations of the analyzing mind, which is helpful at times, but limits our capacity to see new possibilities, be open to new ideas, new perspectives towards ourselves or the world. Just resting in this open, spacious awareness. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, no problems to solve. Just here now, in this moment. Now we'll move into a brief loving kindness practice. Beginning with ourselves, and I'll just repeat some phrases and you can just allow them to kind of come into your being and impact you in whatever way you're ready for. So these are wishes towards ourselves. May I be happy and joyful in this moment. May I be healthy in mind, healthy in body, healthy in spirit. May I know inner peace. May I know peace in all my relationships. May I be free from suffering. And free from the causes of suffering. May I live with ease. May I live with ease. Extending this wish of loving kindness to all beings. Just imagining that we're radiating this loving kindness in all directions, in front of us, behind us, above us, below us, to the left, to the right. May all beings be happy and joyful in this moment. May all beings be healthy in mind, healthy in body, healthy in spirit. May all beings know inner peace. And peace in their relationships. May all beings be free from suffering and free from the causes of suffering. May all beings live with ease. May all beings live with ease. And back to ourselves, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering and free from the causes of suffering. May I live with ease. And now just returning the breath, sensation of the breath back to the abdomen. Extending our awareness sensations down from the belly through the hips and the thighs, the knees, down into the calves, the shins, the ankles. Feeling the feet firmly on the floor, on this earth. Feeling this body deeply rooted and connected to this earth. Again, giving gratitude for the unconditional nurture and support of this Mother Earth for our human body, our human form. We honor that support and give thanks for that support. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free from suffering. And just take a few slow deep breaths. And before you open your eyes, just knowing that as you do open them, kind of keeping a peripheral awareness, so we don't tune into separate objects real quickly. It's kind of an open peripheral awareness, taking in the space around us as a whole, feeling the connection of this body to the space of the room around us and the people around us, our pets maybe as well, the earth itself. And just taking a few deep breaths, wiggling the toes, the fingers, and I'll tap the bell a few times, just noticing the sound. I've been speaking the whole time. We're meditating. Well, welcome back, wherever you journeyed into the body, to the present moment. If you'd like to turn on your videos, you can. I could see some faces. If you don't want to, that's fine. But I thought I would share one of the 7 foundations of mindfulness practice. A few weeks ago, or probably a month ago, we talked about automatic pilot versus living consciously in the moment. And that was the first foundation. And the second one, it speaks to, and I'll read the descriptions around this. It says, relating to experience through thought versus directly sensing experience. So the experience could be primarily through the senses, and it could be a sound or a smell or sight. And this is how it's described. So this relating to experience through thought is described as a doing mode. And the doing mode works on ideas. That's what goals are. It thinks about the world in which we dwell, about the kind of person we are, about the feelings, sensations, and thoughts we have. Thinking fills our minds much of the time in this doing mode. When we deal with a thought about life as if it were the real thing, we live one step back from life. We connect with life indirectly through a veil of thoughts that filters out the color, vibrancy, and energy of life. Maybe that's a little extreme, but I always give that example of maybe getting up in the morning and I'll walk into my kitchen and maybe the sunrise is just coming up and I see the beauty, the orange and the purples and all that. And this kind of takes your breath away. And there's no thought there. It's just a pure enjoyment of that moment. And then that doing part might say, often says, grab your cell phone so you can snap a picture of it, which is okay as well. But we tend to not have that noticing of just the pure experience of joy. We often are so rapid that you're immediately going to capture the picture perhaps. So that's that doing mode. You know, we see that, we experience it, but then we quickly move into action, which slightly removes us from the experience. We're into doing something about it, grabbing onto it, holding it, pushing it away. Now, this other mode of directly sensing experience is described as the being mode. And in the being mode, we connect with life directly, we sense it, we experience it, we know it intimately by close acquaintance. We get a taste of the richness and ever-shifting wonder of the experience of life. And I think, again, we can see this quite naturally in children when they're quite young, where they, especially if they're outside or engaged, they're just completely into that space. They're not distracted by much around them. They may be totally engrossed into digging through the soil and finding some worms or some ants. And that's all there is. And we're off planning something. So this being mode, directly sensing experience, is can be quite foreign, I think, for most of us. And when I first learned these experiences, it was experiencing reality outside of thought was kind of a puzzler. It's like, well, how else can I experience reality except through analyzing? That just seemed like that was the only option. But as we do these practices more and more, we start to see that, especially we'll say in an interpersonal relationship, one skill that we can bring to direct experiences when our thinking mind comes in and we're starting to analyze what the other person is saying, and we start to make assumptions or counter arguments, we can pause and go, oops, not listening anymore. I'm not in direct experience. I'm in the doing mode of trying to figure it out, trying to categorize it into my reality, into my worldview, which may not be anything like what the other person is saying. And this is where real empathy can arise in our interpersonal relationships, when we can suspend our own analysis and just simply rest in the shoes of the other person. And in that direct experiencing, oftentimes we can have insights and respond in quite a different way than our typical analyzing mind that wants to come to solutions very quickly and solve the problem, where we know oftentimes people maybe just want to be listened to. And if we really listen deeply, oftentimes people will figure out their own solutions without our wonderful advice, our life experience. I'm having a funny sign on my screen right now. It says, confirm your speaking language, and it has Arabic as the selection. So I'm going to put English here because.
It said someone requested Arabic. I don't know. I was trying to figure that
Oh.
out myself, but I'm not sure. I think,
Yeah, I just chose English. Sorry about that. But if that person who selected it, if you want to do that again, I'll select Arabic. So does that make some sense, or any questions on that, of this doing versus being, and this capacity to relate more directly to input that's coming into us from the outside, and not having to filter it so much through our past experiences, but which is very tough. And when I say that, it's not that we eliminate those past experiences. They'll still come up, and the assumptions around those past experiences will still probably flow into the mind, but we begin to have a choice of not taking that as the whole story. We can say, there's the capacity to just pause those assumptions, that analysis, that can sit there and rest and come back to the present moment and open up to what we're receiving. Ultimately, we may analyze it, but having more space to just be with experience without immediately trying to categorize it, name it, or name it as pleasant or unpleasant, gives us the capacity to learn more. We're able to take in much more information when we're in that open space, because we're not splitting it up and categorizing it. Because when we do that, then there's not room for it to be outside of those predetermined categories that we've created from past experience. So I'll pause there. And if there's any questions about your practice today, or practices we did, or about this being versus doing, and relating to experience through thought versus directly experiencing it, the floor is open. I'm curious if people sometimes have made assumptions about a person or a situation, and rarely finding out then that the assumption was incorrect. I don't know if that happens to people.
yeah.
I think it's easy so often in interpersonal situations to take things personally, the way someone's acting towards us, and thinking it's about me. And as we grow wiser, we start to realize that most of the time has little to do with us, and it's about what they did earlier in the day or earlier in their life, or maybe they didn't have breakfast and their blood sugar level is real low or real high because they had too much orange juice, whatever it is. There's so many factors that impact how people present themselves in the moment that don't have much to do with us being in the same space. Well, seeing I've answered all questions, I'm happy everybody came tonight. And you'll receive a recording of this in a few days of our practice tonight. And you can use that as a guided practice. And we always attach a number of resources to that. There's a short article from the Mayo Clinic. There's like a 5-part guided practice for meditation by Andrea Fella. It's quite good. And then there's a PDF to quite a comprehensive book on meditation practice, a particular type of meditation practice, a 10-stage meditation practice that's quite ancient, but it's been reinterpreted and added to through the lens of a neuroscientist and contemplative practitioner, modern day practitioner. So the language is a little more accessible and very detailed in how to refine your meditative practice through these 10 stages. And we work tonight with stages 1 and a little bit into 2. And 1 is really, becoming familiar with the breath. And and the 4 parts of the breath: in breath, pause, out breath, pause. And also in the midst of working with the breath, we pause and notice the body and invite relaxation, because oftentimes, even though we're doing practice, the mind has an automatic set point of tension. And we'll notice, even though there's nothing to do, no place to go, my jaw is tight or my shoulder's tight, even though I just relaxed it 5 minutes ago. So we can deepen into our practice the more relaxed we are, and we balance the relaxation with alertness as well. So it's a relaxed alertness. If you get too relaxed, we can tip over into sleepiness and lethargy. If we get too focused, too much concentration, too rigid with our practice, get agitated, and will actually increase thoughts and mind wandering. So it's that balance between those two of attentiveness with relaxation. What else? The only thing I didn't mention tonight in the practice, which I typically do, just remember, is, when we do practice, we can be judgmental of ourselves when the mind wanders. We have some expectation that we're supposed to be as focused as possible without any movement of the mind, but that is natural and normal. And with practice, it slows, the mind wandering becomes less, but especially if you've had a hectic day, mind wandering can dominate the first 15, 20 minutes of your practice, or maybe the whole practice. So in the midst of trying to be with the attention trained on the breath, the mind is naturally going to wander. That's normal. And in that moment of mind wandering, I always say it's important to meet that with appreciation when we wake up to the mind wandering, because in that moment we've remembered that we wanted to stay focused on the breath. So in that moment of waking up, that's a moment to reward yourself and say, great, I remembered. And then gently come back to the breath. So that's all I have.
I've got a couple things.
Oh,
One,
we had a comment here.
what?
We had a comment here in the room. Yes.
Oh,
Okay. I was just going to say, it wasn't on your topic, but I did have an observation from tonight when I came in. Like, this seemed like kind of a dull room. I mean, it's a lot of brown and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we were done, I opened my eyes and everything looked very bright.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was very bright. Books all of a sudden had a personality. It was like a radical change just in this over here, like the picture of the children was like, it really transformed the room.
And and that capacity to be more present, we actually, the senses become more keen when there's less energy going into the analyzing mind and more into presence. And the senses are actually more, sounds and smells, all that can be heightened.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting observation.
And the other, you can also go to sleep. That's the other one that happens sometimes. So there's also, I was getting pretty, I always hesitate to offer, well, I guess I don't hesitate because I do it pretty much every time. But there's a part of me that goes, should I be doing this in the practice? And that's where I say, notice that which is awake and aware of this sensation that you're observing. What is the awareness that's noticing that? And that's pretty subtle. I mean, for us, and but it is a practice of effortless mindfulness, where we're simply just resting in awareness itself with no object. And it's pretty powerful. The other one that I think is pretty powerful as well is just resting in the whole body. I enjoy that because there's a very, if you're directing it on the breath, there's can be that sense of intentionality, and there's a doer. There's a doer there that is staying focused, and when you have that, there can be a sense of, if I'm not focused, somehow I'm not doing it right. So there can be a slight tension there. We don't want to do that. We just want to be with whatever's happening. But when we just rest in the whole of the body, there's not a lot that has to be done. We're just noticing there's no particular point we're focusing on. We're just the body as a whole. So I find that as a nice, open, spacious awareness practice. So, well, thank you all. Was there any other questions before we close out? Anybody online that would want to unmute? If not,
And before you go, I'll bring that up. But at first, yeah, if anyone's got a question. No? Yes? I don't see any hands.
sounds like it.
Okay. I'm going to bring up the slide for you, Eric. Hang on one second before I share. I want to get this. So it's and let me see. I don't know. Sometimes it's so hard to do this and stay in Zoom where I can then share. So I'll just share my screen and then I'll bring it up. Okay. Okay, there you go.
So this is just a invitation if you'd like to support this work. This is sponsored by the Unitarian Universalist Community Church. I freely provide it to UUCC. Come out and visit us in Portage sometime at 10441 Shaver Road. We have a very welcoming community. And there is that tinyurl.com donate to UUCC that you can use to log in and provide some support if you're so moved. Some of that comes to Prince of Peace as well, the church that allows us to use this space on site. But check us out on the web, UUCC Portage, and we have a lot of online programs that are very interesting around environment, social justice, death and dying, a popular subject. A lot of different arenas that spiritual development, of course. We have Qigong that we offer a couple days a week online. So check us out and explore all the free options out there. And thanks for coming tonight. And hope we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.